Hello everyone, this is John Mark Johnson Jr. again, and I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on how things have been going. Now, I haven't really put up a lot of videos for quite some time, and I haven't put in some face-to-face videos in a very long time. Partially it was because of the school year and those kinds of things, partially because I'm really lazy and I don't update things as often as I should, but also I have a new project that I'm working on that I wanted to share with you guys. It's been a little bit time consumptive, but, well, not that much. Like I said, most of it's just laziness, but I'm really excited about it and I wanted to share it with you. And so that's what this update is mostly about. I'm writing a new book. I've already written Foundation and did a revision of it, and it was decent, but left a lot to be desired. Particularly when I had people read it, one of the confusions that they had was the tension between ancient Christianity and what some of the ancient Christians believed and what Protestants believe in the here and now. So how is it that I, as a biblical historical Christian, can quote from the early church fathers and use them fairly regularly, but that doesn't mean that I totally agree with them. That was causing a lot of problems for people. And they're sitting there going, what's going on with that? The book that I'm working on now, Sword, is a book that's about the Bible. It talks about the history of the Bible, its transmission, who wrote it and why, various different controversies that happen concerning it, why we have the canon that we have, different doctrines relating to the Bible, and all these kinds of things. And the nice thing about it, though, is that it's very easy in Sword to make a lot of the distinctions between ancient Christianity and biblical historical Christianity clear, why there are these differences, and not just kind of leaving people in limbo on, well, which ones? I didn't want to leave people in limbo on it. And so that's one of the things that I try to clarify in this one and explain why Christians can look to various Christian sources, not just the ancient Christian sources, but even modern Christian sources. And just because a modern Christian source or an ancient Christian source says something doesn't necessarily mean that a biblical historical Christian is going to believe it and go along with it. We might use their terminology when it comes to some things, but that certainly doesn't mean that we're going to do it with everything. And that's because our standard ultimately is the Bible. And so that's what we're going to go with. Go figure. But like I said, Sword is shaping up to be a wonderful project. When everything is said and done, right now my projected page limit puts that at about 180 pages, which is a pretty sizable thing. Foundation, when it was its longest version with Chapter 8, there's two versions of Foundation. With its longest version with Chapter 8 was 108 pages, I believe. So Sword is going to be almost twice as long, and also it's going to be put out in a larger format. Instead of the 5x7, it's 5.5 by 8.5. So it's a little bit larger on top of that, and a lot of really cool information as well. And the reason why I'm doing a specific work on the Bible is just because it's disappointing to me how little Christians know, especially people who claim to be Protestants, who claim to be biblical historical Christians. They don't know nearly as much about the Bible as they should, about their faith as they should. And I can't really fix stupid. But the least I can do is provide information for people who want to know. Also, I can't fix people's motivational problems. If somebody doesn't want to learn and yet has the audacity to call themselves a Christian, that's their problem. I'm not going to claim them, you can bet that. If they don't know what they're talking about, I'm not going to claim them as a brother in the Lord. I'll be honest on that one. One of the biggest problems we have right now in Christianity is people who aren't really Christians speaking as if they are. I'm a Christian because I said so. Do you know what that means at all? Do you have any kind of awareness of what the Bible has to say about these things? Really, at all? I mean, there's a lot of Christians who'll have this favorite verse or that favorite verse, but there's very few who could actually sit down and walk you through the text explaining what the significance of various events are and how they fit together and where things come in and those kinds of things, it's really disappointing and frustrating. So Sword is written to kind of help jump people up a little bit. Like I said, I can't really fix the motivation problem, and if people don't want to learn, they don't want to learn, and if people want to be stupid, well, this is America, where you have the right to be stupid. Oh boy, that's sadly true. And I get to say that because I'm in education, I'm a teacher. Yeah, if people want to be stupid, you can't fix that. But Sword is going to help put a lot of that material together for Christians, so at the very least they don't have an excuse. And frankly, this is America, where it is so easy to get a hold of information that they don't really have much of an excuse in the first place anyways, but people will try anyway, and I will still try. And so I've yammered on that for quite a while. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully when it comes out, you guys will get a chance to look at it. And I might even do a video series on it. I tried to do a video series on Foundation, and you guys saw that one. I think I stopped at like video 5 or something like that. I think there's still some good information in it, but for Foundation, I just wasn't really feeling it. It was a little premature, probably, in a lot of ways. What I was trying to do with it and what it actually came out as being. And like I said, there was a lot of people who, when they looked at the material, were kind of confused as to where Protestantism and traditional Christianity came out and these kinds of things. Hopefully Sword will not have those kinds of problems, and I'm being very intentional about making those distinctions clear. In fact, the chapter that I just finished, there's going to be 10 chapters altogether, and I just finished chapter 5. And that was the chapter on how we got the Old Testament canon. And of course, if you're going to talk about the canon, you're talking about the list of books that we have, and why those books instead of others. And of course, that's mostly a debate within Christianity. Most outside groups don't worry about that too much. But within Christianity, that is a debate. Why is the Protestant canon different than, say, the Roman Catholic canon or the Eastern Orthodox canon or these kinds of things? And I was actually pretty surprised by it, in that I didn't really have to go to a whole lot of other sources other than what you can find in ancient church histories and those kinds of things for why we believe the things that we believe. And so I imagine that there are going to be a lot of traditional Christians, a lot of Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodox and maybe Assyrian and Oriental Orthodox, if they ever look at it, that aren't going to be too terribly happy about what they see there. But for the most part, I basically just stick to the facts. This is what people said. This is how often they said it or didn't say it. Here are some fairly common arguments that aren't good. Here are some arguments that are good, and that's it. For most of the stuff that you were dealing with the history of the Bible and whatnot, you really don't need to go into a whole lot of suppositions and theories and whatnot. Just stick with the facts, and it'll be good. Anyways, this is now like my 3,000th time of saying this, but yes, I've given you guys a lot to listen to. Thank you guys for listening, and be on the lookout for Sword. Go with God and be blessed.